All right. So I'm here with Carl Lanore, host of the longest running health, fitness, and anti-aging podcast in the world. Yes, I did say in the world. And the world is a pretty big place. So welcome, Carl. How are you?
It's great to be here finally with you. Glad to be here.
Thanks. Yeah, I've been listening to you from about 2010, I'd like to say, when I made my first transformation. I discovered your show accidentally. I was on the way to losing 65 pounds, didn't really know anything. I hadn't even heard the word organic. I think conventional in Whole Foods meant organic. I was clueless, very clueless. Discovered your show in an effort to go faster. I wanted to, because I'm competitive. And then I stumbled onto, wow, you can actually be healthier as well. Like I have dermatitis, eczema, psoriasis, all these problems, and magically they disappeared as I lost the weight, cleaned up the diet, cleaned up my environment. Because I like the fact that you went on your shows beyond the basic stuff of food and working out, lack of a better word.
Right.
So it's pretty instrumental in helping me, to be honest. It was also very motivational because I was like, you always pointed out that yourself were formerly over 300 pounds and you're just a regular guy who used critical thinking. You're big in pointing this out. Just use critical thinking. You don't need a PhD to stop and think, does what I'm hearing from this guy or this lady make any sense? And you can just do your own research as well. You don't need a PhD. A lot of people are afraid in some ways to challenge the status quo, and you were not. And I really respect that. And it was very helpful to me personally.
And I continue to. So I'm going to be ending my show this year sometime. I thought 17 years was enough. I may end up getting right into the 18th year in November. The anniversary of the show will be the third week of November.
Okay.
November of 2005, I went on the air on a radio station, Clear Channel.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm supposed to look at the camera and not at you, but I'm looking at you. But
I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah, I started doing my show on AM radio station, and I used to record the shows and put them on my website for people who show up Saturday to watch or listen. And I found out that I had a huge audience out in the United States that found the podcast. We didn't call it a podcast back then.
Oh, wow.
When I started doing this show in 2005, the podcast was not part of the common vernacular.
Okay.
We had the iPod, we had MP3 players.
Yeah.
And the concept of downloading talk shows and not music was emerging.
Okay.
And so, when I first started doing the show, I was exclusively interested in bodybuilding because I wanted to lose. I was 330 pounds. I had lost 100 pounds. And I did it by following a lot of the tenets of bodybuilding.
Okay.
But then Randy Roach was the first person who changed the show. He had written the 3 volumes of Muscle, Smoke, and Mirrors, and he focused on the nutritional origins of physical culture. When we look at bodybuilders today, we don't see who they used to be. Guys like Vince Gironda, Armand Tanny, Jack LaLanne, they were experts at nutrition. They could get you to eat things and your body would change. That was amazing. People didn't understand it. People got fat by accident. When I got to be 330 pounds, I didn't have a plan. I just did the same thing every single day, but I didn't have a plan. And so Randy Roach's books changed the direction of the show. And then many other books. Dr. Daniel Lieberman, The Story of the Human Body, an ethical view. An obscure book that no one knows about also changed the direction of the show. It was by a doctor from India named Milind Watvi, and he wrote a book of of doves, diplomats, and diabetes.
Oh yeah, I remember that name.
A Darwinian view of modern disease. It was groundbreaking, and it changed. And each of those, the introduction to that information changed how I looked at things. And now today, once again, I'm going to say something that's going to piss a lot of people off. Like, Carl, all you did was talk about supplements for 17 years. I know. But now I realize when you're looking at anti-aging or pro-aging, as the term is being called now, and health, it's what you remove from your diet that changes your life, not what you take. It's not NAD and it's not all these magic beans and magic powders that, lots of these gurus, influencers are promoting today. Dr. Irina Conboy, who is literally reversing aging,
Okay.
At the Convoy Lab in San Francisco, her and her son, husband, David. They are doing plasma dilution.
Okay.
If I told you one of the greatest things you can do starting today and moving forward is start to donate blood twice a year, whole blood, and donate plasma like once or twice a month. Okay. It will reverse the aging of your body. No one knows this. And it's not a pill. It's not a magic bean. It's not a special coffee with fat and ketones in it. Because, and I promoted this concept years ago. If you've been listening to me that long, you know that I've talked about donating blood to get the iron out.
And I do.
I've told you about donating blood because you change the oil in your car. Your oil in your body gets gunky and crappy. It carries all sorts of mutated proteins, and these are the things that age you. So offloading blood regularly, but monitoring iron. You don't want your iron to get too low. Right. Donating plasma. There are clinics charging $8,000 for what they call plasmapheresis. They draw the plasma out of your blood and they put synthetic plasma back in. Synthetic plasma is just saline, some protein, some vitamins. That's all it is. Yeah. And they charge $8,000. You can do the same thing by donating plasma twice a month for a little while. If you do any type of epigenetic testing, you'll see that the doctor will go, "Oh my God, like you had the body of a 60-year-old man, and now all of a sudden all your markers look like you're 20. How could that be in 6 months?" So what I've learned is this: you can take all the magic beans and magic potions you want. They're not going to get you to live to 180 like some people are promoting right now. Some gurus are promoting. Right. But if you train and build muscle in me, I'm 65 years old. I'm thick. If you train and you focus on strength, number one. Number two, if you eat whole foods, and especially the more animal protein you eat, the better off you are. You get regular sun and you do whatever it is to get good sleep, you'll live to be 90, 100 without any magic beans. Yep. I agree. I donate blood myself every 2 months. So I donate whole blood. What's the difference when you say you donate plasma more frequently? What's the difference there? So whole blood is plasma and red blood cells. Okay. But you can just donate the yellow stuff in between the red blood cells. Okay. Gotcha. And it replenishes in 2 days. So you can be very aggressive. You can donate plasma every, twice a week if you want. I'm not suggesting you do, but twice a month is a good place to start. Okay. And it's not like red blood cells where you feel exhausted. Literally, just drinking water on the way home will replenish plasma because the liver makes 80% of what's in plasma for you. Boom. Okay. Got it. No, I'm gonna definitely look into that for sure. Yeah, and Kirk. Yeah. Most plasma banks will pay you to donate plasma. Okay. Now, I'm not suggesting people make a livelihood doing it, right? As opposed to spending a bunch of money on the latest and greatest supplements, they'll pay you to donate plasma. Yeah. And you'll help some lives as well too. That's the other benefit too. Yeah. That's a good point. Now, we're definitely going to touch on the sleep thing later, but so you touched on your story, and I remember there's something you love to talk about, metabolic currency, and you touched on it. Hey, just be stronger. That will help you to live longer, live better quality of life. So talk about that. So in 2005, when I first started doing this show, at the end of every show, I close the show by saying, muscle is metabolic currency. So get into the gym and make a deposit. Right? Because I early on, I saw the connection between strength and longevity. The first study that I read that showed this link was from the California Veterans Administration. It was a huge study. It was like 20,000 men. Okay. These men were going to the doctors for different reasons. But when they went in, they were required to do a leg press. Okay. Right? They did a leg press. At the beginning, they were evaluated on their peak strength, their maximum leg press. And then each time they had to come to the doctor for whatever it was. Maybe they were coming in for prostate problems. Maybe somebody had a scar, whatever they came in, they went in, they checked in, they did their leg press. Right. And the study lasted 16 years, I want to say. And the men who were the strongest at the beginning of the study were still alive at the end of the study.
Okay.
The men who were the weakest at the beginning of the study and continue to get weaker were dead by the end of the study.
Okay.
So this was the first time I saw, like, wait a minute, you know, for thousands of years, people, the old folks said, strong people are hard to kill. Only well, when you think of a virus, a virus that's hard to get rid of, what do they say about it? It's strong. Oh, this is a strong virus.
Yes.
Well, when you build muscle and strength, you become resistant in every aspect of human.
Yes.
And so strength equals longevity. And there's a lot of people who don't want to do this. I know guys who are big proponents of preaching longevity, but they don't work out. They don't work out. They actually believe that the more you work out, the sooner you'll die. You only have a certain number of heartbeats.
Yeah.
And that's it. You tick out.
Yeah. You know, I find it hard to fully buy into that when somebody is telling me they're some kind of longevity expert, but they appear to not work out, or they actually say minimize the working out. It's like they're viewing it that they only have so many miles, so they think I gotta be, or they don't want to eat too much, because if you eat too much, even though they're lean, or you can be lean eating more, they don't want to, you can only have so many calories before you get deceased as well. At some point in time, you're not living anymore. You're not enjoying life either, right?
And you're really not living longer, right? Because the people that do a caloric restriction, they literally starve themselves, right?
Yes.
And they still die at 70, 80 years old. You know, the irony is I went to Ireland a few years ago.
Okay.
I was able to walk around the abbeys and the graveyards of people from the 1400s,
okay,
1500s. Elisa and I were shocked. This person lived to 70. That person lived to 85. Of course, we had early death because we didn't have antibiotics when you got an infection, but also life was tougher. People were crushed by things, you know. But the people who got past a certain age, like 30 or 40, they regularly lived into their 70s, 80s. And I'm going, well, wait a minute. We're supposed to be living longer now.
Yeah.
We're still only living to 70 and 80. Okay, there's outlier centenarians that are living to 100, but there's always been outliers living to 100. So, like, stop telling me this crap that vitamin is going to make me live long. Nobody's living longer. Nobody. The people who are living longer, when you see these guys on Instagram, they're 60, 70, 80 years old. They're ripped. They're muscular. Yeah. They look happy. They're engaged in life. You know, versus like a guy who's like a devoted vegan. He only eats 600 calories a day. He looks emaciated. His eyes are sunken in, but he's like, but I'm alive. Are you?
Yes.
Like, are you really alive?
Yeah. You don't want to survive. You want to live. There's a difference between surviving and living. You know, like my dad is 75. I remember a couple years back, he went with my mom to Egypt on vacation. And I don't know if you've been there, but for the Great Pyramids, one of them, they allow you to climb inside the pyramid, but you got to scoot down, blah. And it's not easy. And I remember him saying he was the only one on his tour bus who could do that. There were other guys or to look outside, take pictures, but they couldn't go in there.
They don't want to go.
Yeah, and they can't like bend down the basic things like that. But he is always saying you don't want to get old and not be able to do anything. You know, you don't want to get to that point at all. So.
And it's not a trade-off. It's not like I want to be strong. I have to maintain a certain amount of protein intake. But you don't have to become a gavone, like we say in Italian, a hog, where you just eat everything all the time.
Yes.
You know, I can get by very easily with about 2,000 calories a day. I can maintain the muscle that I carry.
Yeah.
I don't have to overeat. Most days nowadays, because I'm so busy with this new business, I eat 3 meals a day. That's all I eat. And it's very easy. But I'll tell you what, years from now, we're going to look back at Dr. Sean Baker.
Okay.
Dr. Sean Baker is shedding light on the realities of the American diet. You know, we have so many people saying that red meat causes cancer, red meat causes heart attacks, red meat's no good for you, red meat's killing the planet. None of those things are true. And all you have to do is go to the website Revero, REVERO.com. Maybe it's .org.
Okay.
Dr. Sean Baker is the one who really did launch the carnivore diet.
Okay.
And it's changing lives. Do you know that when he first, I had him on my show in 2015, I think, because he had done a huge deadlift at an older age. Like I think he's almost 60 now, but and so I had him on the show, and he started telling me about all he eats is meat, and he had a website back then called N equals many, because he was trying to get people to eat exclusively meat and get their blood work done. And now he's made it a whole. I mean, he's literally got millions of people who are on rheumatoid arthritis drugs, drugs for autoimmunity, all sorts of drugs, and all they did was stop eating anything but meat.
Okay.
And they're thriving. They're healthier. They're stronger. They're leaner. And it's like, wait a minute. I thought meat killed you. So Sean, when he first started the carnivore diet movement, I stand to be corrected, but he either had a 40% or 60% calcium score, which is not good. I mean, that's a stenosis.
Yeah.
Today he has no calcium in his arteries, in his heart, and the doctors will tell you that's impossible. No, once you got it, you got heart disease for the rest of your life. And he reversed it by just eating meat.
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
So I think he's done a great service to all of us worldwide, because he has followers in every country now that are getting the message that, the bad stuff is all the bread, the processed foods.
Yes.
Even a lot of the vegetables that people have don't realize it's the root of their autoimmunity.
Yeah, and a lot of these studies, as far as I know, most of the studies on red meat, it's all the bad red meat, let's say, from the farm lots. It's not grass-fed cows roaming around.
It's not even that. You can buy low-quality red meat as long as it's steak, as long as it's chopped meat. What's no good is the processed meats, because they're high heat cooked. The problem with the hot dog isn't the sodium nitrate. We know that now.
Okay.
The problem with the hot dog is it's cooked at like 800 degrees.
Oh,
and
wow.
when you high heat cook meat, it increases not only some of the carcinogens that I'm struggling to remember the name of, but also, if you remember, we've talked on my show many times about glycation end products.
Yes.
So glycation end products, your body can't get rid of them. They're actually they're made from hyperoxidized glucose.
Okay.
So people who have diabetes, they develop glycated end products, but people who eat like ultra hot heated meats, they develop glycation end products as well.
Gotcha.
AGEs, advanced glycation end products, and you can't get those out of your body once they're in there. So the problem is the heat in which meat is cooked at. And that's why you don't want to burn your steak. People who are ordering extra well steaks, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Medium is adequate as long as it's pink in the center.
Yes.
When you overheat cook the meat, it does bad things to your body. That's the problem.
I used to be a well done guy, and I changed to medium.
That's it.
And it's funny. It reminds me. I shouldn't say. I know. I remember this guy saying years ago. I think it was in the restaurant. The chef was saying, "You're spoiling the taste." And it took a while for my taste buds to adjust, but the steak tastes better when it's medium compared to well done. So it's probably your body sending a signal that this is the healthier version of the steak. So that
Sean Baker, those of your listeners need to follow him and learn and give it a chance. I tell people, try it for 3 days. The first thing you'll notice is if you tend to have some bloating, your bloating is gone in 3 days.
Okay.
If your stomach is distended, it's not flat like it used to be, but it bows out.
Yeah.
That'll go away. And before you know it, you'll have more energy. I mean, it's cured so many people of diseases that they didn't even realize. They just thought, well, that's the way my life is. That's the way my body is.
Yes. Yeah. It's like me going to the dermatologist. They kept telling me it's my genetics. That's why I needed this special cream and special shampoo. And, it was embarrassing to get a haircut. It was like my scalp was snowing or something.
And there's something else I just recalled. 17 years of shows are bouncing around in here. I had a scientist from Sweden named Patrick Dahlin on my show about 8 years ago. His group, they tested 26 foods and beverages
Okay.
and looked at their effects on telomeres. Remember when everybody was all high on telomeres?
Yes.
Prove the telomeres. And we still don't know if telomere length means anything. However, what we do know is there was only one food of the 26 foods and beverages that increased the telomere length in humans, and that was beef.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
So if there's really something to telomere length, you should be eating more beef if you're worried about it. You don't have to take astragalus. You don't have to take supplements. You don't need that. You don't need it.
And so many of these times with these supplements, the dosage is nowhere close to what the studies show the effective doses at anyway. You'd have to be taking a gazillion of the pills, or maybe what they claim is in there is not even in there for that.
Do you remember the show I did when the Daily Mirror, the UK newspaper, published an article that said, skip the gym and drink more wine?
Yes, I remember this nonsense. Yes.
Well, I had the scientist that wrote that study. He was fuming.
Yeah.
He was pissed off because they took that study and they said, oh, skip the gym and drink more wine. And we don't need to give people excuses like that. They already do shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he came on the show and he said, we used isolated resveratrol. That's what we used. And in order to get the amount of resveratrol that we were giving the rodents, you'd have to drink 100 bottles of wine a day.
Yeah, I remember something ridiculous.
And this is why the media today sucks. Yes. They give people bad information. People make their decisions based on that. You may remember about after I had Dr. Daniel Lieberman on the show the first time, I said the new evolutionary selection pressure is where you get your information from.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. It's true. You have to, again, back to what the beginning of the show when I talked about critical thinking, Yeah. I give you a good real life example. I'm at the hospital with some family, and person being treated had a viral infection, and the nurse comes in and says, the doctor wants to give them antibiotics. I said, well, I thought you said they had a virus. Yeah, they have a virus. I'm like, well, but the antibiotics can't do anything against the virus. And she was like, well, that's what the doctor wants. I'm like, okay, can I please speak to the doctor? She leaves. 10 minutes later, she comes back. She says, the doctor has changed his mind. No antibiotics. But we're so preconditioned to.
But you caught him. You caught him.
Yeah, exactly. Some positions as omnipotent. I mean, the guy didn't do it. He just made a mistake, right? But we're so conditioned to.
No, he didn't make a mistake. Yeah. He felt compelled to write a prescription for something so he could feel doctorly.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to say, no, just go home and give it some time. You'll get better on your own.
Yes.
And you'll build up resistance to getting that virus again.
Yeah.
No, he says, well, let me give you this because I'm being doctorly now.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. You gotta use your critical thinking and be willing to challenge things.
Yes.
So
I've fired doctors in my life.
Yeah.
True story.
Yeah. I got you. So how is your training, or has it changed over the years?
Yes. I trained as a power lifter up until I turned 59. I was moving very, very heavy weight all the time. Workout everywhere.
Yeah, like over 600 pounds deadlift from what I remember.
I squatted, yeah. My best deadlift was 7. My best squat was 740. And I did that every week.
Yeah.
Like every week, back day or leg day, like that, it included these movements. But then I snapped 3 attachments on my left hamstring. I did not go back and get it fixed because my hamstring was still very strong. But then I detached this tricep. This arm is like Frankenstein because I tore the outer head of the bicep.
Okay.
So it's down here now.
Yeah.
And I have the you can almost see the little ball there. Yeah, that's where they had to reattach the tricep.
Yeah.
Then I did one other thing. I'm trying to think.
I remember you dropped some dumbbells on your toe more than once.
Yeah. I crushed my foot and I had to have 2 surgeries. Yeah,
I remember that.
I dropped
wearing the Vibrams back then, as I recall.
Yes, I was wearing 5 fingers, which give you no protection.
Yeah.
It was almost like I was waiting for Ashton Kutcher to come out and go, "We just punked you." So my regular top leg press, and was a good leg press. I mean, I went down. I went down to parallel. Let's say it down. It wasn't a short little leg press.
Yeah.
And I would work my way up to 1,440 pounds every week.
Wow. Yeah.
And do that. So this 1 week, the gym got new weights. The plates were thicker.
Okay.
So when I loaded all the plates on, I was done leg pressing.
Yeah.
I went to take the plates off of the top stem.
Yeah.
Bounced on the bottom stem, and that plate fell off on my left foot.
Yeah.
It started bleeding immediately, and it was it hurt so bad.
Yeah.
And a good friend of mine, Randy, was there. He says, "I keep telling you not to wear those 5 fingers to the gym." So after I recover, maybe 15 minutes or so, I go to the other side. I take the top one off, it bounces on the bottom one, it falls on the same foot in the same spot.
Yeah.
I finished that leg day. I finished that leg day. I squatted, I deadlifted.
Hardcore. Yeah.
I was already smashed up in the pain.
Yes. Yeah. I had something. Well, I remember pulling the left quad more than once before they figured out it was the right glute wasn't firing. But yeah, I remember finishing leg day when possible because I couldn't squat anymore, but I could do some movements. Yeah, I mean, you're already there. So
right. What am I going to do? Go home?
Yeah, exactly. I know what you mean.
But nowadays, I still train. I train with the maximum weight, but right now I'm relegated more to machines.
Okay.
Because the left foot makes it very complicated for me to balance, like to deadlift. And like the other day, I grabbed 200-pound dumbbells and I was deadlifting them. And it was easy, but I feel unsteady. I got to do some work on my foot.
Okay, gotcha.
Have the time. The other thing is that I have an ARX machine at home. And this is a $35,000 machine that exploits the negative portion of the rep.
Okay.
So it has a 2.5 horsepower motor.
Okay.
So when I'm doing a press, 8-second press, and then when it comes back at me, I have to resist it as much as I can. It's 2.5 horsepower, and you resist. But I only use that like twice a month because it really puts a very, very deep training result into your body, and you can't do it really.
To recover from that. Okay.
Yeah, you have to recover from it. But,
gotcha.
Yeah, but I go to the gym every day.
For the balance portion of things, aside from what you're saying with your foot, do you think doing anything like yoga or some kind of martial arts would help? The reason I say that is, like, I remember this chiropractor, really good chiropractor, telling me every day you almost fall down. Every day. Most of the time you don't consciously realize it. You know, like you at 65, you just catch yourself. My dad, 77, he just catches himself. He does yoga and martial arts and he lifts weights too. But some other people at that age, they don't catch themselves, so break their hip or whatever. But, you know, that's something, because I remember when he used to teach, there was a guy, a stroke, right. It was in the 60s, he had a stroke, and he would move like this, slow motion, everything. And like, I remember a year later seeing this guy, and he just looked like a normal person. It just blew my mind how he had transformed. And all he was doing was the karate, you know, so that could be something that could potentially help with the balance.
My problem right now is I'm still doing the show, and I've just launched a company called Gun Leash.
Yes.
And Gun Leash will put an end to lost and stolen guns in America.
Well, that'd be good. Yeah.
Oh, you can't imagine. There's over 700,000 handguns are lost or stolen every single year.
I did not know that.
15% of them. I know no one knows it. Everybody thinks no one loses guns.
Yeah.
Cops lose their guns. 15% of those guns will be used in the commission of a crime. And there's a fella named Jonathan Bullington who wrote a great article. Where he followed 100 lost and stolen guns to 100 murders. Wow. Those guns ended up being used to murder people.
Yeah.
1,000 murders he traced back to the guns. The guns were lost or stolen.
Okay.
Bought at a store.
Yeah.
Lost and stolen guns are a real problem. And I have a patented device. It took me 3 years to get it to market. We're going to market with it now.
Okay, nice. Yeah.
And it will eliminate without tracking. For those of you who are watching the show and you're a gun enthusiast, it does not track your gun.
Okay.
It's a simple proximity device. I can actually show it to you.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
I think I can. I don't know where I put them.
I am an owner myself, so I'm curious about this. Yeah. I'm really surprised about the number, but you know, I could almost see it too, because unless you use it regularly, it's just where you think it is, but
bag.
hell,
It's
you
in
may
my
not
bag.
even miss when it's gone, to be honest.
My gun is in my bag. But anyway, it'll keep people from losing their gun. It's a big deal. Really is.
So when you say a proximity thing, so if the gun is lost or so, like
if the gun is on you, it knows.
Like find your iPhone.
No, it doesn't track. It does not track.
Gotcha.
If the gun is on you, it knows. If you take the gun off and put it down in the bathroom, which a lot of people do, and then leave the bathroom, it tells you that you didn't take your gun with you.
Okay. Got it. Okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, it just helps you from forgetting the thing. Okay.
Yeah, that's all it is. If you don't forget it, you can't lose it.
Exactly. Yeah, that is something. So for like a typical person, say that somebody is new to the gym or they've been lifting on and off over the years, but so they're effectively still a beginner. Based on what you know now and things you didn't know back then, what would you recommend to a person like this? Because a lot of people
focus on strength, focus on strength, focus exclusively on strength.
Yeah.
Because you will make strength gains from day to day and week to week, but you may not look different in the mirror. You may not look different on the scale. Don't worry about that. Just focus on strength. That's it.
Yeah. That's a very good point, because the other day I was speaking with Wenning, this power lifter. He had like a almost 1200 squat, and he was saying one of the things that hold people back is they're not strong enough to use a lighter weight where they can crank enough reps out when they plateau, essentially. And I thought that was a very good.
You don't have to crank enough reps out. So if you're an average trainer, average person, you work a day job, you have kids, you go to the gym, you build strength if you do a challenging weight, 5 reps.
This is true.
That's it.
Yeah.
You don't have
like
to
5 and 5. Yeah. You're right.
The 5x5 has built strong men for 100 years.
Yes.
And you don't have to squat 1,200 pounds. You can squat 135.
Yeah.
Just as long as it's challenging. That's it.
Agreed. Yeah, I think the point he was making was more when the people got stuck, and they literally were plateaued for a year, 2 years, or whatever the case may be. And he was like, well, you do need, essentially said what you just said. You need to get stronger.
Right.
Challenge you, because I remember when I was transforming the second time, because when I lost the 65 pounds, I got fat again. And ironically, I'd stopped listening to the show for a while, then transformed the second time. And I remember when I was in the gym, and I think you said this one show, the magic was in the last two reps, 1 or 2 reps.
I call it equity.
Yes.
So what I used to say to people is, like, would you pay your mortgage for 29 years and then on the last payment, default and lose all of that equity?
Yes.
Now, when you're training and you feel like, oh my God, this is getting hard.
Yeah.
Those are the reps that count, even if you can only do 1.
Yes.
That's the equity. You don't want to give up until you do that rep or that 2 rep, because that's where the equity is in that.
Yeah. That is so hard. I mean, so true, because I remember when I'm there in the gym and I'm chubby and I see these guys, to me, they weren't going as hard as I was going. They were stronger than me, look way better than me. So to my brain, I was like, yeah, I probably shouldn't say anything, but I know I was going as hard as I could go. And
That's the secret.
Yes.
The secret is to train as hard as you can train.
Yeah.
Not as hard as someone else can train.
Yeah.
That's the secret.
Yeah. Because I remember 2 years later, most of them, they looked the same. And I thought to myself, I was right. That magic thing, it clicked to me when you said it at the time of the show. I was like, I would look at them and I would feel this, man, I know this guy could do more reps on that set, but they would just stop. And they would literally stay the same. Yeah.
But you'll still, but that some of the problems with literally staying the same is diet. I know guys that have been going to the gym and going through the motions and could have grown, but they don't eat enough protein.
This is true.
You got to do it. You got to do it every day, every week, every month, that's the difference between you and a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
They don't miss their meals. They eat that way every day for years.
Yes. This is true. Yeah. I heard it's a world-class coach talking about elite athletes, and he said this typical things are genetics, blah, blah, blah. One of the things he said that struck with me is like, these people don't miss days. They don't miss days. They don't miss meals. They don't miss workouts. And that accumulates over the years. And that's one of the things that separates them, aside from the, obvious elite genetics, let's say.
Right.
So that's a great point. So the last thing you're talking about, consistency blends perfectly into this next question. well, it may sound kind of simplistic, but a lot of people don't know how to do this consistently. So how do you plan your day to make sure you go to the gym? You know, like what do you do the night before?
None of that matters. You got to just go to the gym first thing in the morning.
Okay.
No matter what you do. Like, you know, I generally, so now that I am not a young guy, and I'm not part of the gym architecture anymore.
Okay.
I train in street clothes.
Okay.
So I get on my motorcycle, I ride to the gym first thing in the morning. I walk in and I train. I'm in jeans, I'm in a t-shirt.
Yeah.
I don't have to shower afterwards. I can get right into the studio. So the important thing is to make it as less complicated as possible.
Yeah.
You know, if you have a special set of gym clothes and then you got to shower after that before you go to work, and it's a whole big McGilla that you got to do, you're less likely to do it.
Yes.
You got to, you got to, the same way you have a bug out bag. You know, I got to go. I got this bag. You just got to go. You just show up in the morning. You don't need, you know, it's funny. Everybody's dependent on a pre-workout, dependent on their headset. They're dependent on their lifting gloves.
Yeah.
Have this. No, man. All you need is your body. That's what's working. Just show up and do it, and do it and train first thing in the morning. A lot of people say, well, I don't like training. I remember when I first started training, I was training in the afternoon after work. I wasn't as strong. I wasn't as into it. When you get up first thing in the morning and go to the gym, even if you're not as strong, it just take a week or two for you to get used to training in the morning. Now you train first thing in the morning. Now, guess what? You're going to eat every 3 hours. So you got a whole long day to eat, to build all that muscle. If you eat late, maybe you have one, maybe two good meals, and then you go to sleep, you're not exploiting the metabolic machinery now.
Yes.
Training first thing in the morning is the best. And it's actually the evolutionary way, right? When we woke up, we walked out of the cave, we got to work, we went looking for food, we tried to catch an animal. But as it got later, we wind down and we go to sleep, we relax. Your body wants to do that. It makes nighttime hormones at night. It makes daytime hormones in the daytime. But people want to go to the gym at 6 o'clock because there's this hot blonde that's going to be there. I was going to say, F that. Go to the first thing in the morning. Go to the first thing in the morning. Get it out of the way. Get it done. Then you'll do it every day.
Yeah, I know. I mean, just anecdotally, whenever I've had to work out very late, say 8, 9 o'clock, I notice it's so obvious on bench day that I'm weaker, noticeably weaker compared to 5 or 6 p.m. And on weekends, when I work out earlier, I'm stronger. And to your point about the day, I know there's some science on this. When you get out in the morning, the sun hits your eyes, blah, 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 and you do anything, any kind of physical activity, you have so much energy the rest of the day. It's a tremendous amount of energy.
And you sleep better.
Yes.
Why? Because you're adhering to the way humans are supposed to work.
Yeah. This is true. So I'm going to jump, because you touched about sleep. So let's jump to recovery, because, you know, there's this old saying, if you cheat on sleep, her twin sister death will avenge her, right? So tell us about the importance of sleep. I think a lot of people out there, they don't understand the importance of sleep.
I can't say enough about it. There's a lot of people in this country that think somehow sleep is optional, that sleep is a waste of time. I should be grinding instead of sleeping. There's nothing stupider that you could say to yourself. You know, impaired sleep you will develop diseases. You will develop type 2 diabetes. I remember I interviewed a scientist who studied Olympic athletes at the Winter Olympics when they were in the United States. This is back in the 2006, 2007. I don't remember when it was. But they short sleep is considered anything under 6 hours.
Yes.
They took Olympic athletes and they forced them to short sleep 2 nights in a row. They had the blood sugar management of a 70-year-old person.
Wow.
I mean, doctors, there was another study years ago that was done on doctors who are working doubles and triple shifts. You know, they still have a little bed they can go lay down on. Their thyroid crashed the second day and their blood sugar went haywire by the third day. They were actually diabetic. So sleep is so critical to just living a healthy life.
Yes.
I mean, it's not optional. And if you are really interested in making gains, you grow at night when you're sleeping.
Yeah, I know people mistakenly think, oh, I get these muscles in the gym, I burn the fat in the gym and everything. It's what you do outside the gym, whether it's with the diet or the sleep. That's where all the magic is happening there. Yeah, you're shortchanging yourself if you're not getting high quality sleep for sure.
And if you're sleeping, if you're going to bed on a full stomach, you're not sleeping well. You should have finished eating at least 3 hours before bedtime. You'll sleep better, and your body can focus on repair instead of digesting.
That makes sense. Yeah. I mean, I wear this Oura ring at night, and because when I was having sleep many years ago, I was out of desperation. I was trying everything. So I bought the Oura ring. And that thing, anytime I have a very big meal too close to bed, it will say the next morning, did you by any chance have a very rich meal because your body temperature was elevated, or it took longer for this to lower, blah, blah. That device is quite accurate.
The factory was open and working all night instead of sleeping.
Yes.
And I'll tell you something else. The older you get, the harder it is to digest a late meal. I stop eating by 6 p.m. because I go to sleep at 9 p.m. every night. I'm very regimented. I do the same things every single day.
Yeah.
And on the occasion that I eat late, even though I stay up till 10, I still have that 3-hour window.
Yeah.
My stomach is work. I can tell. I get up in the middle of the night to pee, and I'm like, man, I'm still full. How can that be? So the older you get, the body doesn't want to digest food late at night. It wants to repair. It has a lot of things to repair the older you get.
You are correct. When we were kids, you could eat any kind of nonsense right before bed.
You could beat a pizza and go to bed and wake up feeling great the next morning.
Yes, this is true. The beauty of youth, let's say. And what about naps? Because I got into naps partly because of you, and when I was doing triathlons, take a nap at lunchtime, like in my car or something. And I thought those helped.
If you can't nap, meditate. Even if it's 10 or 15 minutes, just close your eyes and repeat a mantra over and over again, and kind of just get your brain focused on nothing. Right. But I made some of my greatest gains as a power lifter by training first thing in the morning, eating, and then going to sleep for about 30 minutes.
Okay.
And we can't do, whether you love them or hate them, and I love them. Michael Hearn trains at 4 o'clock in the morning. He eats, he comes home, and he goes back to bed and sleeps. Think about it. What is the terminology that we use? Rest and digest, right?
Right.
When we talk about the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, we talk about the body wants to rest and digest. Why don't we rest and digest anymore? Because people are not metabolically flexible anymore. You have a lot of people who are diabetic, and they have to take a walk after a meal because their blood sugar is going to shoot through.
Right.
But if you're metabolically flexible, and this is not nighttime, because there's a doctor out there called Dr. Kiltz, nice guy, sweet guy. I've had him on the show. But he's really wrong. He tells his followers to eat a big steak and then go to bed.
Okay.
And Dr. Dale Bredesen showed that one of the ways to reverse Alzheimer's disease is this 3-hour window to stop eating before you go to bed, because autophagy of the brain kicks in when the body's not digesting food. And so, and the brain wants to clean itself up at night when we're sleeping. And so the idea is, you can take a nap on a full stomach. You can't go to sleep at night on a full stomach, because a nap doesn't have the architecture that sleep has. Sleep has specific architecture that you have to go through in order to produce hormones, to stimulate the cleanup process and the healing process. But you can eat something and then take a nap for 20, 30, 40 minutes. That's not a problem. They're not the same. So don't be lied to and be told that having a big meal before bed and going to sleep is okay. It's not okay. And lions don't do that. So he promotes the lion diet.
Okay.
Now, first of all, if you go to one of the websites in South Africa and the Serengeti, where they have lions in captivity, what you will find out is lions don't eat once a day. They eat as frequently as they can. Now, if they can't catch an animal, they can go for up to 3 days without eating. But this idea that lions eat once a day, so humans eat once a day, this is silly.
Yeah.
It's just silly. And eating right before bed, I mean, sleep time bed.
Right.
Big mistake. Big mistake.
Gotcha. Yeah, I can tell the difference sleep quality wise is usually, especially if carbs are involved, then it seems even more compounded when you eat too close to bed. Too close to bed.
Because what are you doing? Insulin has to be produced all night long while you're sleeping, right?
Yeah.
Then when the digestion is stopped, your blood sugar drops. You wake up. You wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Go, why am I wide awake? Well, because your blood sugar drops so fast because you producing insulin all night long, and now you're wide awake because you're hypoglycemic.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you're somebody who wakes up every night at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning because you're wide awake, most likely you are starting to become metabolically inflexible. 3 to 5 grams of glycine, glycine, right before bed, you'll sleep all night. You'll sleep all night.
Yeah, I remember you said that. That's probably why I still have the bottle of glycine upstairs.
Yeah. three to five grams right before bed. You could put little magnesium in it, stir it up, and drink it down. Get in bed, and you won't have that 2 a.m. wake up.
Right. I know another potential problem is when people have caffeine too late in the day. I know for me, I don't have it after 12 p.m.
Caffeine is dangerous.
Yeah.
We don't realize how dangerous it is. I've struggled with caffeine. When I was powerlifting, I used to use 600 milligrams of caffeine anhydrous around my workout.
Okay.
And I'd have to take more later in the day because I was working. I had to go to work. And that skyrocketed. Now caffeine doesn't work for me. If I take caffeine, I feel tired. So I've just given up caffeine, and I can't use caffeine ever again. I have something that I'm going to be doing a show about very shortly called caffeine abuse syndrome. And it messes up your gut. It causes lots of problems.
Right.
Lots of problems. Ringing in the ear. People are like, I don't know why my ears ring all the time. Well, caffeine alters insulin sensitivity and alters blood vessel constriction. People whose ears are ringing usually have constricted blood vessels in their ear. If you don't believe me, go like this with your jaw, and you'll make your ears ring.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you're pinching off the blood vessels.
You're right.
Caffeine shouldn't be taken lightly, and I hope never to have caffeine again for the rest of my life.
There's this book, I'm not sure if you've ever heard it, called Why We Sleep.
I believe I've done an interview.
It was a really good book. Yeah, perhaps you have. So a doctor wrote it, and he said caffeine is the largest unregulated drug study in the history of humankind.
I'm gonna tell you something else.
Yeah.
So Benjamin Franklin said coffee was the greatest thing in the world because no one had to pay attention to daylight any longer. You use caffeine and work into the evening.
Yeah.
What do you know about the relationship between circadian rhythm and health?
Well, when it's messed up, your health goes down pretty much,
So what does caffeine do? It shifts your circadian rhythm from where it's supposed to be to someplace else.
It blocks adenosine, which makes you feel tired and makes you go to sleep, right?
It does block adenosine, but what it does is it upregulates the adenosine receptor. So the more caffeine you use, the more caffeine you need.
Yes.
When it wears off, you have a lot of adenosine build up
and the crash.
And there are people out there who have chronic fatigue syndrome. They're going to doctors, they're taking all sorts of drugs, and all they have to do is give up the coffee about 2 months. 2 months. It takes a while to restabilize.
To restabilize yourself. No, you're right. You're right. Caffeine can be potentially very dangerous.
It is, and the doses are bigger. Big cups with 200 milligrams of caffeine, and people drink 2 of those a day, and they don't think anything about it because you could buy it at the store. But caffeine is really dangerous. It's
social acceptable because I remember at one point in time I was probably drinking 6 cups of coffee a day. Hell, it might have been even more now. I can't remember. I try not to even remember those bad days where, like you said, you need more and more, and I had to drink. I would have the lull at 2-3 p.m. and I'd have to have 2 cups to get me to 5, 6, and then the vicious cycle would start again the next day. It's
horrible.
Yes. I remember you talk about hot and cold contrast. Like whether you're using a shower, going into tubs. Do you still do that?
Yeah, I do and I don't. I can't do it like I used to do because none of the gyms I train at now have a really good sauna. I have a sauna at home, but only gets to 130 degrees.
Okay.
And in the cold days, I just go sit outside. But I'm a huge fan of sitting in the sauna, a good 180-degree sauna, 20, 30 minutes, and then jumping in a shower. I always did it. Fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. There's some good science on that as well. Definitely, definitely. So I know there's lots of magic pills and potions out there, aka supplements, but people always want to hear about them. So are there any supplements that can assist, let's say, but not necessarily just cause you to burn fat or but can help people to either burn some fat or build some muscle?
Burning fat is a lie.
Yes.
All the fat burners are just stimulants. And the logic is, well, if your heart beats 2 times a minute more, your metabolic rate is elevated, and as a result, you're burning more calories. And eating more frequently just increases the ability to digest food. It doesn't increase your metabolic rate. So that, which is I'm eating 5 small meals a day. So that'll keep insulin level, but that's not going to increase your metabolic rate. That's just increasing your body's ability to process food.
Right.
So, really, if you do very unheroic things consistently long enough, you'll lose body fat.
Yes.
The problem is that people, it's like doing their taxes. They wait till the last minute. Now I got to get everything done now.
Yeah.
You know, and so what you really need to do is focus on a meal plan that you will follow, that it has less calories than not heroic. It doesn't have to be like 1,000-calorie a meal. Maybe all you need is to start losing weight is 1,500 calories a day. Break that into several meals so you don't feel hungry.
Right.
Do it every day for a month, for 2 months, for 3 months, for 4 months, and miraculously you lose body fat. And one other thing, when it comes to growing muscle, if you're natural, if you're not using drugs or anything like that, you can gain about an ounce of muscle a week. That's 1 pound of muscle every 16 weeks. That doesn't sound like a lot, but that's actually a lot.
Yeah, that adds up.
Well, and if you do it for 5 years, guess what?
Yes.
You know what I mean? You just put on 25, 30 pounds of muscle.
Yeah.
But that's what nobody wants to do. Tell me how to get there fast. I want to get there now.
Yes.
I don't want to wait 5 years. Well,
I know.
It'll work for you.
You know, what they don't understand is 2 years from now, if you had started today, you'd have been 2 years down that road.
Down the road, right? Exactly.
That's what they don't realize. That's the part they're missing. You know, they want it now. They want 30 pounds in 30 days. All of it must be fat. I must put on 10 pounds of muscle in a month, and it's kind of mumbo jumbo nonsense like. And then they're disappointed when that doesn't happen.
It never happens because just by the time they're getting close to what they want to do, then they shift. They break it. They decide to go to a party and drink, and then the rest of the weekend they eat and drink shit, and then it just keeps going and spirals out of control.
Yeah, the key thing is consistency. Yes.
To life.
Consistency
is the key to life.
This is true. So let's touch on this last section, nutrition, right? What are some of the mistakes you see people making over the years regarding nutrition diet? Because I know overall, it doesn't matter what big picture, it doesn't matter really what diet you're doing. Generally speaking, they're the same level of effectiveness. Again, consistency being the key. But putting that aside, what mistakes do you see people making? Typical mistakes?
Doing any type of extreme diet, because you're not going to stick with it. And like we said, it's consistency. Yeah. So if you can't do full-on carnivore, but you can increase your meat intake, but you also like broccoli, you know, you like a sweet potato once in a while, then do that. But get yourself an app like what's that one? Is it Fitness Pal? Something Pal?
Yeah, My Fitness Pal. Yeah, to track.
That's a great app because it has all the food loaded in, and you can look at what the calories are. And don't skimp. Don't go, I'm not going to put this in today.
Yes.
But
yeah, it's funny.
I like apps like that, My Fitness Pal, because it makes it easy. Most people eat 9 different foods every single day, every single week. 9 different foods. And if you think about it yourself, you have the same things for breakfast and one of 6 things for lunch, and so it's easy. But planning to eat is important, not just getting hungry and going, oh, the hell with it. I'm just going to go over here and get a Philly cheesesteak sandwich.
Yes. Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah, that's where people fail the planning, because like I remember years ago, a friend of mine told me, ironically, I was fat then. She said, if you don't know, the trainer told, if you don't know in the morning what you're going to eat for dinner, you're going to eat bad. Because when dinner time comes along, you're just going to grab whatever. You're hungry.
And the same way I just go to the gym in street clothes. I trained in these clothes today. I have jeans on, this t-shirt.
Yeah.
The way that I don't I oversimplify. You have to oversimplify your food as well.
Yeah.
You have to have things in the house that you can grab. Elisa and I like to make these little egg muffins. They're just egg and some vegetables, and you can grab 2 or 3 of them. We know the size of them. We know each one of them has about 10 grams of protein. You eat 3, that's 30. You go.
Yeah.
Like you have to simplify your life. You can't. You know, too many people want to be gourmet cooks and adhere to a good diet. It's not always possible.
No.
Sometimes you just got to eat something that's good for you, and it doesn't necessarily taste great.
Yeah, it's like brushing your teeth. You don't do it for pleasure necessarily, but it's something that you got to do, right?
That's right. Eating is fuel.
Yeah. You say keep it simple, because MyFitnessPal, you know, a lot of people tell me, it's hard to track. And I would point out to them, because I learned this from your show, that as you said, 9 foods. People in their head think they eat 50 different things every week. But no, you go to that restaurant, you order the same things 9 times. You go to that other one, you order the same thing. And at home, you have the same stuff every day. Once you've typed something in MyFitnessPal, you just swipe right with your finger, it loads the same stuff again. It literally takes seconds, you know, but the
if you're in a hurry and you understand the value of animal protein, okay, here's some things, right? That I've done. Wendy's sells hamburger patties by themselves for $1.50.
Okay.
You can get 4 quarter-pound hamburger patties and put a little salt on them. That's a pound of beef. That's a meal. I had to go to a Mexican restaurant the other day. I don't eat the chips, and I don't really, Mexican isn't my thing, but I had to go to be sociable. So I knew that they had huevos rancheros on the so I said, can I have 6 eggs over medium and just the pork from the carnitas? That's what everybody else ate crap. refried beans and chips. And I ate a meal that was relatively healthy given the way I eat. So you have to have fallback meals, you know. I've even resorted to going to McDonald's. People go like, oh, McDonald's sucks. Well, but if you just buy the hamburger patties, they don't suck.
Yes, exactly. You got to be flexible, you know.
And the only reason why I won't buy the sweet potato at McDonald's, because they're so heavily sprayed with pesticides. If you ever notice, McDonald's well, their French fries, first of all, but also their baked potato has 0 potato eyes. The eyes are where the roots grow from the potato.
Yeah.
So these are genetically modified, heavily sprayed potatoes. They don't develop the eyes. It's a perfect potato. The same thing, you'll never find that little mahogany looking like half of a hole in one of their French fries where the eye was. Those potatoes are horrible. They're so drenched in chemicals, I wouldn't eat. That's one thing I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, again, you know, N of 1 for myself, but I know whenever I stray, whether it's with a ton of non-organic stuff or a ton of processed stuff, eventually my skin just breaks out.
Yeah, interesting.
Like clockwork. I mean, and I put 2 and 2 together, right? Just put 2 and 2 together. It's just...
See, so for you, it's absolute. You know what's going on.
Yeah.
Most people just don't feel good. They don't know why they don't feel good tonight. You know, it's not overt enough for them to go, oh, that's because of what I ate today.
Yeah. I'm kind of fortunate that way. Or unfortunate, depending on how you look at it, you know. So so I would say, like, this last thing would be like, any final words of advice for the people watching and listening to this? Anything you'd like to say regarding health, nutrition, fitness?
Do it. You have to do it. People put it off all the time. I mean, if you keep putting it off, make a commitment tomorrow morning. Put your sneakers next to your bed, your sweatpants next to your bed, or if you're sleeping sweatpants, just get up, put your sneakers on, put your shirt on, walk 10 minutes away from the house, walk 10 minutes back. That's a win. Count that.
Yep.
Have something light to eat. Protein powder is good. If you want to have a whey protein drink or something like that, go to the gym and train. Now you got 2 wins already under your belt.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the day, you'll be compelled to eat better when you train in the morning because you already have an investment in the day.
Yes, it's true. You don't want to screw it up. It's a great point.
Follow somebody like Sean Baker because his carnivore diet simplifies your life, and then you can throw in a baked potato here and there if you want, or a couple, steamed carrots, and go to his web. I'm telling you, Rivero, Sean in 15, 20 years from now, Sean Baker will have exposed the truth about all the crap that we're eating that we shouldn't be. And red meat is not the problem. It's actually, do you know the Chinese Navy? They brought cattle on the boat. They raised them, they milked them, they butchered them, and they all ate beef on the boat. They didn't bring any vegetables. We put vegetables in cans with lead solder, and we got scurvy and brain problems. So beef is the only thing on the planet that you can eat for every meal, every day, every week, every month, every year, for the rest of your life, and thrive. Nothing else is a superfood but beef. And people have a hard time understanding this because it's been pounded into our heads that beef is bad. And you don't have to buy expensive steaks. I buy 30 pounds of ground beef from White Oak Pastures. My humble opinion, White Oak Pastures is the best farm in the nation. They have a negative carbon footprint.
Oh, wow.
At whiteoakpastures.com. And if you use the code SuperHuman, you'll save 15% off every order. SuperHuman.
Whiteoakpastures.com. And the code is, I'll put this in the show notes.
SuperHuman.
Superhuman. Okay.
The best beef, they have rabbit, they have everything you could imagine. They have everything. But that's the food that should be the core of your diet.
Yeah. I think I remember I think it might have been you giving this analogy. If you're stuck on a desert island and you had a piece of broccoli, some wheat, some live animal, if you just ate the broccoli, eventually you'd die. If you ate the wheat, for sure you'd die if you can't process. But if you kept eating this animal, you would live.
You would thrive. You would thrive.
Yeah, you would thrive. Yeah.
Everything in the flesh of the animal is what we need. When we eat stuff, it goes into our flesh.
Yes.
So they're a repository of everything we need to put in our flesh.
Yeah.
So we just have to eat their flesh.
Yeah. That makes sense. So, man, this has been even more educational than I thought it would, and I knew it would be. So thank you so much for dropping so much knowledge. Like you said, you got 17 years worth of stuff twirling around in there.
And I'd like to say, those of you who are watching our Second Amendment enthusiasts, please go to gunleash.com and sign up for the release. The product is going to be released in 3 weeks. Yeah. And I promise you, this will make gun ownership safer for everyone.
Yeah, that's definitely a good thing. I'll put that in the show notes as well.
Thank you.
Man, thanks so much, Carl. It's been a pleasure.
My pleasure.
Yes, thanks.